Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan Qasim, and our guest today is Daniel W. Hamilton. So, Daniel, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do.
You got it. Well, I am here in Austin, Texas. Been in Austin. Matter of fact, on Sunday, celebrated 16 years in Austin. And as far as what I'm doing these days, my business partner and I also host a podcast where we focus on company culture. But then the main thing that I'm doing nowadays is I get to use my golf skills. In my early career, I started teaching golf, and then I kind of switched over to sales. And so now I specifically help business leaders level up their golf game, gain confidence, and be able to use golf as a business tool. And so it's a lot of fun getting to use the two things that I love the most and get to, make a thing of it.
That's awesome. So were you like just somebody that learned golf and saw like the benefits of golf? Or like what kind of made you want to jump into this space?
Well, what's funny is, so I'm 42 now, and as a freshman in college, I signed up for a golf class. So we're talking the year 2001. I signed up for a golf class and instantly just fell in love with it that summer. And that was in East Texas. And that summer, I got a job working at a sports camp down in New Braunfels. And so I spent 10 weeks right after my freshman year of college working where 5 days a week, me and one other guy would take a van load of about a dozen kids over to a local golf course. And we got to work with a PGA professional. And mostly it was a lot of just corralling the kids, but I was also learning how to teach the game of golf from this professional. And then, kind of the rest is history. I came back, I got a job working at a local country club and pretty quickly told them like, man, I want to be a golf professional. I want to do this. Did that for a couple of years. Not to brag, but my last year there, I won Employee of the Month 3 times. I won Employee of the Year. And when they went to present this like $1,000 check for Employee of the Year, the GM was like, dude, you can't work here anymore. And I was like, wait, what? What are you talking about? He was like, no, I'm not firing you. But like I was in Shreveport, Louisiana, which is where I'm from. He's like, man, you're too good. We got to get you to a bigger market, which is what brought me to the Dallas-Fort Worth market teaching golf. And that was a real cool experience. I got to teach golf to a lot of professional athletes from all the major sports teams in Dallas. And then I made my way to Austin and got into on the real sales and sold SaaS and sold a bunch of other things, but all along the way, still kind of teaching golf in the background. And then, just in the last few years with COVID, honestly, it started with people that still wanted lessons, but they didn't want to meet in person. So I started giving virtual golf lessons and then started really with this boom of new people picking up the game during COVID. There were a lot of people that just they didn't even know, the basic etiquette. And like, man, I got invited to play golf in this business outing and I'm terrified. I don't know what to do, what to say. And so, that was kind of the birth of it of like, man, I should be able to merge these two loves of mine and help people. And so still got a long way to go, but it's been a lot of fun so far.
That's awesome. So for somebody who's in the business world today, right, who has their own company, maybe an executive, and wants to get into golf, like why is it something that they should, go and pursue? And is it like something that can really help them, whether it's within their career or even, just like the sport itself, like the physical component of it?
Well, I tell you, so I was 22 years old and I remember I was driving up the East Coast and I played golf and they paired me with 3 guys that were all in their 80s. And I was the only one in a golf cart. All 3 of these guys had a push cart. And that was this moment where I was like, man, I can truly play this game my entire life. Matter of fact, at 1:30, I have a call with the gentleman that I recently met who is 60, and he started playing golf 3 years ago. And so even him, he's kind of on the tail end of his career, but he's, we'll say, hey, you got the golf bug. And so, getting the opportunity to be able to help people like him and on down to, I mean, I, used to teach a lot of kids, but yeah, now the focus being, gentlemen like this guy, Christopher, where they know that they're going to be able to use golf, whether it is a business networking type event, whether it is, just going and playing golf with their friends and being able to be more confident and being able to, let's be honest, not hurt themselves. And I was very fortunate at one point in my career to get to work under a guy named JL Lewis. JL, at that time, I was 33 years old. His son was my age, so he kind of immediately took a liking to me. But this guy has won on every major tour in the world. He actually passed away during COVID. Rest in peace. That was a very sad day. But what I learned from him was really getting into the dynamics of the physical body and the limitations and capabilities of anyone. Because I, like this guy, Christopher, we were on about the third hole. And when I go out and play a casual round of golf, I don't normally go, hey, I'm a golf pro. I've been teaching golf since 2001. Usually I'm just playing golf and relaxing. But I mean, it's a safe place. I'm a good golfer. I mean, obviously I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't. And so he's kind of noticing that and we're chatting. And then finally I said, hey, Christopher, have you ever had hip problems? And he looks at me like, how the heck did you know that? And he's like, yeah, I had, hip surgery. I was like, yeah, I can tell by the way you swing. He's like, what? And then of course I'm like, now I'm telling him, who I am and what I do. But it's like that, being able to meet every individual where they're at, because not like this guy, Christopher, he doesn't want to play on tour. He just wants to be able to play a little bit better, not hurt himself, and be able to play this game for as long as possible. And so, yeah, that's the ultimate goal, is to be able to meet the individual where they are and just help people enjoy the game more.
For sure. So in terms of avoiding injuries, right? Like you mentioned that, it's like the way you swing. Is there anything else besides like your swing? Like what else would you say that maybe just some common mistakes that people make when they're golfing for the first time where they could be potentially hurting themselves?
Oh, it's the number one thing is people. I mean, I played golf yesterday and I watched, there's probably 8 or 9 people on the driving range when I'm warming up, and I immediately go through all my stretching. And I have the same, that pro JL I told you about. He wrote a book, and in his book, he talks, the first few chapters are all about stretching. And so I'm going through my stretching regimen. I'm doing everything before I ever even swing the golf club. And I watch and I notice not one other person on the range does any sort of stretching. And that's generally the number one reason why people get hurt, or people can't, really make it last long and really have the longevity that they should be able to have with the game, is because they go, oh, I don't need to stretch. And I laugh because, you'll hear people all the time and they'll go, oh, golf's not a real sport. But my favorite thing is watching a professional athlete, whether basketball, football, baseball, who these men and women who have been at the absolute top of their sport for years and years and years. And then they retire and they pick up golf and they're like, oh my God, this is the hardest game I've ever played. And that's the thing that blows my mind and is kind of just the reminder of like, yeah, it is really hard, and it is a sport, and you do have to treat it like a regular sport and respect your body. And, yoga and things like that are really big, aspects to the people that I know that are the best and continue to be the best.
100%. I mean, I remember, I grew up in the Chicago suburbs, and we had the BMW Golf Classic right by
Yeah.
where I grew up. And I remember maybe like 2012, 2011, Tiger Woods was like making his return. And he's actually
Uh-huh.
working out at my gym. And I
Ooh.
remember seeing like he's such a creature of habit. It's like every morning, like 6 a.m., he's there no matter what. I mean, and this guy, I mean, just to your point, right? He's an elite athlete, and there's a reason why he's the best. Like the other golfers might be like out of shape, but like they're not as good as Tiger Woods. And just to your point, it is a real sport, and it takes a lot of skill and effort to actually be at that level.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because like when I worked in Dallas, like, I mean, not to name drop, but probably the most notable person I ever got to play golf with was Tony Romo. And that dude is a golfer. Like he is a really good golfer. And what I noticed though with any of those guys, I mean, I got to play pretty regularly with a handful of the Dallas Stars hockey players. And same thing, all of those guys, because they're athletes, they could kill the ball. They already have the kind of the basic swing, so it's easy to teach those guys, and they could absolutely kill the ball, like hit it 100 yards past me. And it's not, I don't hit the ball short. They just have this power. But what's funny is not one of them could ever beat me score wise, but they could all hit it a mile. But that's the big divider, is being able to go from, hey, I can just get out here and smash the ball, versus being able to actually get the ball in the hole. But it's funny. I mean, if you go out to the golf course, I see it literally every day. I live closest to Avery Ranch Golf Course here in Austin now. And the other day I'm out there practicing, and it's the same thing every time you go out. There's 40 people on the driving range, not one empty spot to go and hit range balls. Do you know how many people are over there putting? 2. And that's the old saying, drive for show, putt for dough. But it's real. Like, I don't care how many people can sit out there and hit a bucket of balls all day. That's easy. But to be able to convert it and actually score, that's the hardest part. And so, yeah, that's one of the many things that I really try to focus on with people is, who cares how cool it looks? Like, I beat so many people throughout my years that could outdrive me, but they still couldn't beat me. And it's in there. It's the mindset for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously, like this last week here in Austin, it's been quite cold.
Yeah.
I'm curious about this. Like, is there like a certain temperature where, you say, okay, this is too cold to actually go and play golf?
Well, it's funny. I mean, when I was much younger, it didn't matter. I mean, one of the very first golf tournaments I ever won, the last day it was 40 degrees. But now that I'm older, I definitely, use the term, I'm a fair weather golfer. But, yesterday I think the high was 53, but it was sunny. And yeah, we've had our winter storm. And so yeah, just getting a few days cooped up where I'm like, hey, I don't care if it's 53, if it's sunny, we're going to get out and swing it. But yeah, it is definitely, if it's too cold and too windy, it's just miserable, Are you a golfer yourself, Dan?
No, I've never played actual golf, but I
Okay.
mentioned, I grew up in the Chicago area. So it's like when you're from like up north, you definitely see people golfing in some crazier temperatures, which you wouldn't
Yeah.
see here in Texas. But it's just, to your point, I mean, it's sort of, you just kind of have to deal with like what you have to deal with. And it's like, if you
Yeah.
want to play, it's like, okay, well, I guess 40 degrees could be fine because it's better than not playing. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I worked for a golf marketing company selling, we basically helped golf courses market themselves and created their websites and mobile apps. And I had a lot of customers that were up north, especially in Canada, where yeah, their window of golf is maybe 4 to 6 months every year. And like, yeah, I can't wrap my mind around that. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've played a round of golf on Christmas Day or on Thanksgiving Day wearing shorts and a t-shirt here in Texas. Yeah, we're definitely fortunate with our
100%.
year-round golfing opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously now we're in a new year, 2025. So what are some of the biggest goals and objectives for you and your business for this year?
I mean, the number one thing I want to do right now is, and what we do is not just cranking out lessons. I had those times in life where I was booked for 2 weeks out, and for 8 hours a day, I sat out on the range and it was a million degrees, and I just did lesson after lesson after lesson after lesson. And I'd teach anyone that would sign up from ages, 6 to, I mean, Walter Braun was 82 years old when I taught him, so, I've done that. But now the focus is, because what I'm doing is, it's a little more intense. It requires more of the person. Like, if we're going to do this commitment, they have to sign either a 3 or 6 month contract with me, and they have to commit to at least 30 minutes a day, at least 4 days a week without me, where they're actually like tracking things, and they're, I'm going to give them homework essentially. And then they're like, I've got one guy right now that if he gets to, he's set like, hey, I want to break 80 for the first time. And if he breaks 80 before our contract is up, I get $1,000 bonus. And so there's incentives for me, but it's incentives for them, because like, look, I'm going to give you my 24 years of knowledge, and I'm going to give you all that I have. I make my like clients read books. Like, I make sure that they're stretching. I have one particular, it's a golf focused yoga that I make them do this yoga and do it regularly. And so because of that, I don't have like a full book. The goal is to have 10, just capped at 10 customers, 10 clients a month. But like I said, each one of them, they're paying, I mean, right now packages start out at $500 a month. And this is for one individual, but that gets them a certain number of lessons. They get pretty much unlimited virtual lessons. And then things like they can just text me real quick and like, hey, I'm about to go play, but this is happening. Like, okay, cool. FaceTime me, set your phone up, and let's do a quick little 5-minute tune up. And so they get more access and things like that. So these are, the people that I'm working with are primarily CEOs, executives, people that are really committed to being the best that they can. I mean, these are guys that they want to be the club champion at their country club, and they want to, be able to really do some bigger things within their realm. And so, yeah, being able to get, I'm not there yet, but to be able to get to where, yeah, we've got consistently 10 customers, 10 clients that I'm working with, and that helping these men and women achieve their goals. And then, rinse and repeat. I get a lot of referral business and always have. I've got a unique style, and I work a lot with people on the mental game and the pre-shot routine and how that affects, every other part of your game. So yeah, that's the ultimate, is just getting a full book of clients and continuing to get more referral business.
That's a great goal. So if you could go back in time to before you got started with this business or even with golf in general, what is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew?
Man, honestly, I wish I could go back to being 24-year-old Daniel and just suck it up and do my, get my PGA Class A, because that's essentially your bachelor's degree in golf management, which the average person taking a lesson, they don't really care. But country clubs and organizations that would hire you or that would let you work with, that's almost like the minimum standard, to be able to go like, oh yeah, you've got that. And I could always go back and get it, but at the same point, in order to do that, I'd have to actually go and work at a golf course full time. Unless you have that PGA, I mean, they don't pay anything. I mean, I could make more money driving Lyft than going and working as a assistant professional just to go and get that. So yeah, if I could go back, I would definitely probably, suck it up and finish that.
Well, that's good advice. So if somebody watching that's wanted to work with you or wanted to reach out, what's the best way for them to get in contact?
I mean, I tell everyone to find me on LinkedIn. It's fun. I think I have 3 messages in my inbox right now on LinkedIn of people that I just commented on something else and they, reached out. But I tell everyone, I've always done this, that I will give anyone a free 30-minute lesson. Because if I can't help you in 30 minutes, I can't help you. But throughout my career, I bet I've converted those free 30-minute lessons. I bet I've converted 98% of them to paying lessons. And so find me on LinkedIn, or you can always email me. I know it's a shocker and although I know you go by Dan, I do go by Daniel. But my email is danthegolfer24@gmail.com. So yeah, absolutely. Anyone could email me and set something up. And the beautiful thing is, I just picked up a client that's in California. So I've never even met her. Obviously, we won't really be playing on the golf course, but we'll be doing virtual lessons and a lot of, mental game and strategy kind of work.
Amazing. So yeah, if you want to get some help with golf, definitely reach out to Daniel. And Daniel, thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Cheers.